Good day everyone and welcome. Today we are going to talk about how to build a 48 volt hybrid on and off grid solar power system, and it's going to be step by step complete and detailed video tutorial. This will be a long tutorial video, so make yourself comfortable. Please watch the whole video before asking anything in the comment section. On our video content we have major parts list and specs, safety devices on AC and DC side, wires, cables and miscellaneous cost breakdown, animated diagram grounding system commissioning, which is the step-by-step procedure, and of course the return on investment calculations. Major parts list, we have hybrid inverter, solar panels and battery bank. So we are going to use 10 pieces of 500 watts. Trina Vertex 10 pieces is equal to 5 kilowatt P max. And also we have a hybrid inverter. This is the 48V Inverex 5 kilowatt Nitrox hybrid inverter, and on our battery bank we're going to use 48V 200 AMP hours lithium ion battery. So let's start with the 500 watt solar Trina Vertex. That's the model's name. PMAX is 500 watts. VOC is 51.7 volts. VMP is 42.8 volts. ESC 1228 amps. EMP 11.69 amps. Dimensions, height, width and depth, it is 2187 by 1102 by 35 millimeters. For the complete specs of this solar panel, check out the link under the video description. For the 5 kilowatt hybrid inverter, we have the AC output and UPS power 5000 watts or 5 kilowatts. Maximum efficiency is 97.6%, maximum PV input power is 6.5 kilowatt or 6500 watts. Battery voltage range 40 volts to 60 volts. DC PV input voltage is recommended is 370 by the manufacturer. That's the ideal VOC voltage. The minimum is 100. The maximum is 500 volts. MPPT voltage range is 125 volts to 425 volts. MPPT efficiency. This has high efficiency of 99.9% PV. Input current is 11 plus 11, which means it has 2 MPPT input or trackers. Maximum charging current is 120 amps, and it is very important for you to read the complete specs of this hybrid inverter as well as the user manual. The last one is our 48 volt lithium iron phosphate battery bank. First on the list we have our PV isolator switch rated 32 ohms 1200 VDC. We're going to use it as a switch isolator switch between PV arrays to DCMCB. Note that this will be optional. Second is the 2-pole MCCB. 5 kilowatts of PM max on your PV array, 150 amps, 600 volts DC is enough. The third is the DCMCB or 2-pole DCMCB rated 20 amps, 1000 volts. And next to that is the 2-pole DC SPD rated 20 to 40 kFTF 500 volts. And of course we're going to use ACMCB. 2 pieces of this, we're going to use one for the hybrid inverter input and another for AC output rated 32 ohms, 2 to 75 volts. Or you can have higher voltage rating and 2 pieces of 2-pole AC SPD rated 20 to 40 kA 275 volts. Last on the list is the copper ground rod. The length is 2.4 meters. Wires, cables and miscellaneous. First on the list we have 10 AWG 6 square millimeter twin core, 30 meters to 50 PV wire, but the length should be calculated based on the distance between your PV array and the main system. But I would suggest at least by 30 meters. Next is the ground wire, it has to be 8 AWG or 10 square millimeter, at least 30 meters. Third is the 2 AWG 35 square millimeter battery cable, at least 5 meters each, with terminal lug, and 8 AWG or 10 square millimeter, 10 meters of THHN AC wires. We also need 2 pieces of 8 ways MCB enclosure box. You could also use a 10-way, 2 of them, one for the DC side and one for the AC side. I always separate enclosure box for DC and for the AC. And then we have railings, and I don't have the length or measurement yet because I would like to explain this later on the animated diagram. So we have cable trays. We need 5 meters minimum and 12 pieces of mid clumps, 4 pieces of end clamps, 16 to 20 pieces of L-foot splices, and MC4 connectors. At least have 4 pairs, or even better to have more. Now let's see how we arrange all parts on the wall. So let's make a wall mount mockup layout. Okay, the hybrid inverter, and then the DC enclosure box with all the DC safety devices as well as the AC safety devices, enclosure box, then the battery bank, cable trays, and then the PV switch. Now you can have the PV switch on the right side or left side. It's up to you. Now, I would like to suggest that you use a bus bar for all the ground wires. Either you put that on the left side or right side, or we have our MCCB in the middle. Then you can connect the MCCB to the hybrid inverter and then to the battery bank, then followed by our PV isolator switch. Connect that and then to the PV array. And of course, all the ground wires goes to the bus bar and then bus bar to the ground rod. Now we have our AC output from the inverter and the AC input to the inverter, and we have to ground the chassis on the hybrid inverter connected to the bus bar. And of course the CT sensor with the arrow pointing to the hybrid inverter. That's the CT sensor. And important things to remember for CT sensor: battery communication cable and battery temperature sensor installation. Please refer to the user manual. If you don't have net metering installed provided by your power company, make sure the arrow is pointing towards the inverter. Otherwise, all the energy that you export back to the grid, you will have to pay for it as a consumption. So in case you are going to ask, what if you're going to use dual strings of PV array and also doubling the capacity of your battery bank? So this is how it's going to look like. So we have the battery banks 2 times 200 amp hours and the bus bar with all the ground wires. 2 PV switch towards or going to PV arrays, all the wirings needed, and the CT sensor, and that's it. We are now on the animated diagram of PV array safety devices and grounding system. First, let's take a look at the PV array. We have single string of 5 kilowatt Pmax using 10 pieces of 500 watts, and the dimensions of solar panel is 2187 by 1102 by 35 millimeters. So we're going to take this, the width, multiply that with 10 pieces of solar panels, and we have 10.02 meters in length. Considering that we are going to use mid clumps and we should have an excess on both ends of the array. So I think we're going to use at least 8.5 meters to all 8.5 railings. Now you can always cut it into the length that you need or that suits you best. Now this is how it's going to look like with L footings, 9 on each railing. The distances between L foots, I think approximately less than 1 meter. So here's the solar panel, and I don't know if you can see that rectangle, small gray rectangle. That is the end clamps. And the next solar panel connected, and then the mid clumps. Okay? And then so on. Yeah. And then the end clumps. So we're going to connect the positive line and then the main negative line. And this is going to our PV isolator switch. Now we are maximizing the 6.5 Pmax of hybrid inverter. And here's the array specifications of the both strings. String 1 array specification. So we have a Pmax of 3500 watts or 3.5 kilowatt, VOC 361.9 volts, VMP of 299.6 volts, ESC of 12.28 and IMP of 11.69. String 2 array specification. So we have a Pmax of 3000 watts or 3 kilowatt, VOC 310.2 volts, VMP of 256.8 volts, ISC of 12.28 and IMP of 11.69. So you can capture this or make a screenshot that you can use later on. And now to the main system animated diagram. So in this part, we're going to take a look at the bottom view of the hybrid inverter where all the connections are located. First, we have our DC SPD and then the DC MCB. We have our PV switch and MCCB, of course, the AC for the load side or AC output of the hybrid inverter together with the AC SPD and another AC MCB for the AC input or grid of our hybrid inverter together with AC SPD. Now we connect the DC MCCB to the terminal of the hybrid inverter, positive and negative, using the 2 AWG or 35 square millimeter battery cable. And let's proceed connecting that to our battery bank. And then we can connect the DC MCB using the MC4 connectors on the PV input number 1 on the hybrid inverter. And then we can proceed to the PV switch using again the same wires and another set of MC4 connectors. And don't forget to parallel connect the DC SPD and using the 8 AWG or 10 square millimeter ground wire. We can connect the DC SPD output or ground to the bus bar, which is connected to our ground rod. Then we can connect the PV array output to the input of our PV switch, working on to the AC side. Let's first connect the load on the AC output of the hybrid inverter to AC MCB. This is where we're going to bus the 8 AWG or 10 square millimeter THHN wire, or even better using silicone wire of the same gauge. And then we can wire the rest of the load or AC output of our hybrid inverter and using again the ground wires. we can connect the AC/SPD ground to the bus bar, which is also connected to our ground rod. And the same thing with then chassis of the hybrid inverter. Now working on to our grid connection, this one goes to our AC/MCB, and that is from our distribution utility. That is for the AC input of our hybrid inverter. Again, we have to connect the AC/SPD parallel into AC/MCB and then connect the ground wire, and then we connect our CT sensor. Important things for CT sensor: battery communication cable and battery temperature sensor installation. Please refer to the user manual. If you don't have net metering installed provided by your power company, make sure the arrow of the CT sensor is pointing towards the inverter. In case you are wondering how it's going to look like for dual strings or maximizing the 6.5 hybrid inverter PV input power, here it is. So feel free to capture this or have a screenshot that you can use later on. And now we are on grounding system. It's one of the most controversial part when it comes to solar power system installation. Let's start with PV array. Here's our solar panels and we need a ground. We also need a ground rod. We can connect one of the panels to the ground rod. I bind all these solar panels with a copper wire just to make sure that there is continuity within all the panels. And that is very important. All solar panels must be tested. If each one of them has continuity connection from one to the next, don't just rely on clamps and railings, because some solar panels, they have a thin coating on their frames that serves as insulation. If needed, bend all PVS using copper wire. Now you don't have to do this if you are 100% sure that all the solar panels have continuity to each other. The next important thing is the ground rod has to be installed at the nearest location or right below the PV array. And now let's take a look at all-in-one ground run. Okay, we have the PV array, the DC/SPD, of course. We have our hybrid inverter, the AC/SPD on the AC output of our hybrid inverter, and another one for the AC input of the hybrid inverter. So we can just have one ground rod and connect all of this into that. The next thing is all-in-one ground using bus bar. So we have our bus bar that should be pure copper, and we have the ground rod, and we have to connect our bus bar. Then we have the PV ground wire, DC/SPD connected to the PV wire parallel to the PV wire. We also have the hybrid inverter, ground wire, AC/SPD hybrid inverter, AC output, and of course the AC/SPD hybrid inverter, AC input. And if needed, you can enclose this with an enclosure that is rated IP65 or IP66. Now let's take a look at using two separate ground rods. We have our PV array on this side and the main system on this side as well. If there is a huge gap between these two, huge distance, better to have a ground rod for your PV array and another one for the main system. Connect your PV array on that first ground rod and the main system on the second. One important thing, there is no certain rule when it comes to the distance, but the main objective is to have the least resistance in conductors as much as possible. A huge amount of distance means a longer wire is needed and could potentially increase resistance. And we are now on the commissioning. The very first thing on our list is to turn on MCCB for battery bank. The second thing to do is turn on the power switch, which is located at the bottom. Now from this moment on, you have to give your inverter few seconds before doing anything else. And you have to be very sensitive and read the display of your hybrid inverter. The third thing to do is turn on the PV switch and PV isolator switch. Now if you did not use any external PV isolator switch, you only have to turn on the inverter switch. Next to that is turn on DC/MCB for PV input and then turn on AC/MCB for inverter grid input. Wait few seconds before doing anything else. When everything seems to be fine, the next thing to do is turn on AC/MCB for inverter AC output, and now your solar power system is ready for service. Now we have come to the last part of our tutorial. We're going to do some calculations regarding return on investment, and we're going to base it on the system's energy production capacity. To calculate solar panel ROI, divide your net profit over the lifetime of your solar panels by the combined cost of purchase and installation, then multiply by 100.